Welcome to Magpie. I'm Miss Eva and you're in a place you get to learn from the best. No, not me. I'm only humble little magpie that gets to learn from the best. I roam around bookshelves and look for great ideas for great language, for crafts, for illustrations, for art. Well, if you want to make one of those wild things today, stick around. We're going to read the book that inspired that and we'll make a mask. So, here's the book, Where the Wild Things Are. Story and pictures by Maurice Sendak. This is one of the most awarded authors and illustrators of children's books. Though, this person, whose book inspired ballet, operas, a movie, was spun into, well, a Disney production, hundreds of stuffed toys, including that little fellow, crocheted, made by my mommy and myself. So lots of toys and lots of children running around wearing wolf costumes, calling themselves Max from Where the Wild Things Are. So that book apparently is not a book for children only, as Maurice Sendak believed that there is a wild thing in each and every one of us. Yeah, I promise you there is a wild thing inside of me. I bet there is one inside of you. He believed there is a child inside of every grown-up. And he believed that we learn as grown-ups, we learn the same lessons as children learn from books. So this is a book about a journey of a boy who wasn't really happy in a place he was. I need to tell you a story of something that happened to me. About 3 months ago, I thought I was the happiest and luckiest woman alive because I went on a journey. I had dreamed of that journey for years. I'm a mommy of 4 and I left my children at home and I went on an adventure. I went to Bali. I swang on the swings in the rice terraces. I was exploring the jungle. I was loving my adventure. Well, until 4 days into my adventure, I hear that the borders might be closing because the pandemic, COVID-19, was taking over the world and the world went topsy-turvy. I have to tell you, suddenly, all I wanted was to be home with my children, drinking my roasty, reading books, even washing dishes all day, as long as I was at home. So that's all I dreamed about. And it turned out it was quite a hard thing. 3 plane tickets later and lots of nerve-wracking moments later, I was at home. When I arrived, I cried tears of joy. That's how happy I was because I wanted to go on a journey until I realized that all I loved was in my home. So this is the lesson I learned as a big girl. Here is a lesson of a boy who went on a journey. Where the Wild Things Are. Story and pictures by Maurice Sendak. In the next episode, I will be learning myself also how to draw different images of Max. Well, the night Max wore his wolf suit and made mischief of one kind and another, watch him chasing his poor little dog. This poor innocent creature. His mother called him wild thing. And Max said, I'll eat you up. So he was sent to bed without eating anything. That very night, in Max's room, a forest grew. Look at that, inside of his room. And grew until his ceiling hung with vines and the walls became the world around. And an ocean tumbled by with a private boat for Max, and he sailed off through night and day. And in and out of weeks and almost over a year, to where the wild things are. And when he came to the place where the wild things are, They roared their terrible roars, and gnashed their terrible teeth, and rolled their terrible eyes, and showed their terrible claws. Till Max said, "Be still," and tamed them with a magic trick of staring into all their yellow eyes without blinking once. And they were frightened and called him the most wild thing of all. Them wild creatures called him the most wild thing of all, and made him king of all wild things. "And now," cried Max, "let the wild rumpus start." Here it is, the wild rumpus. Look how many things are happening. How many things you could tell about these illustrations. No words necessary. Look at them riding Max on their backs. "Now stop," Max said, "and send the wild things off to bed without their supper." And Max, the king of all wild things, was lonely and wanted to be where someone loved him best of all. Then all around, from far away, across the world, he smelled good things to eat. So he gave up being the king of where the wild things are. But the wild things cried, "Oh, please don't go. We'll eat you up. We love you so." And Max said, "No." The wild things roared their terrible roars, and gnashed their terrible teeth, and rolled their terrible eyes, and showed their terrible claws. But Max stepped into his private boat and waved goodbye, and sailed back over a year, and in and out of weeks, and through a day, and into the night of his very own room, where he found his supper waiting for him. And it was still hot. The end. That was a journey of a boy who wasn't really happy and was looking for happiness. Well, I bet you've got places you go when you're unhappy. Well, because it's only natural. Sometimes we don't feel really happy. And then we go on a journey. And then maybe you realize that all you needed and really wanted was to be in the place you started. Well, I'm going to show you how to make a mask inspired by the wild creatures that were making that wild rumpus. I wanted to have a mask as well. I made many of them. Mr. Maurice was inspired by his relatives that were visiting him at the weekends, and they had big noses and big eyes, and were saying, "Oh, you're so cute, we'll eat you up." And that what made him think, "Oh, this is the scariest thing of all." So he made creatures that reminded him of his relatives. Well, I thought, my wild creatures, I'm fascinated by monkeys. So I decided to make longer noses, just like the monkeys have. So these are my wild creatures. Perhaps you can be inspired and you can magpie my idea for the wild things, which I magpied from Mr. Maurice Sendak. But whichever way you choose to do, I know your creatures are going to be unique, just like you are. And you can make them in two ways. You can make them into creatures that you just masks that you put over, and you can move away with just a move of your hand. Or you can actually make a mask that has eyes. And this is why I showed that you can use elastic band, which you're going to attach in the back, and you can put it on and just wear it at a book character day, or just any day you want to be a wild thing and you want to get in a character. Children love, well, I do too. The child in me loves masks. So I'm going to show you just in few steps how to make that, and you can master your very own. So I begin with making hair. You're going to need, and I have a plate. You can just as well use a cardboard that you cut out into the size and the shape of a circle. And you're going to need fabrics or paper, whatever you have. I'm recycling. I've got lots of fabrics, so I'm recycling them because they come in so many colors. Pencil, if you want to trace over the lids of things, that can serve as a template for the eyes. And eyelids, that's why I've got smaller, bigger sizes. You're going to definitely need scissors and glue. And you need your creative powers, okay? So there you go, cutting out the hair. You can make them as curly as you like, which means you're going to make crescents, or make them into spiky, straight hair, whichever way you choose to do it. I've already cut up plenty here to show you because that's how I get started. I got lots of pieces and then I put glue over in a nice hairline, actually farther away from the eyes will be the first layer, and I start sticking one by one, big ones, all right, at the edge of the plate with the biggest ones. And then when I go over that and I stick as many as I like, some of them have thick hair, some of them have just thin hair. Well, that's my first layer. I go over this with glue as generously as it is safe to do. And I'm going over that with another layer. So there it is. That's my hair. I'm going to leave that, okay? And continue that the way I did over here until there is plenty. You can put the bangs down, whichever way you like. You can have wavy, thin wavy hair and spiky. Well, time to move to the eyes. Once my hair is here, time to move to the eyes. You can either trace over the lid on yellow fabric, because they had yellow eyes, and then cut out and stick them over here. Then cut out another piece which will serve as eyelids. As eyelids. To do that, I cut out a circle, and through the middle I cut in a zigzag line, and there it goes. So I have nice eyelids with actually something that pretends to be eyelashes. Smaller circle for the eyes. Make them stand out, make them black, brown, whichever way you like, okay? So 3 layers for the eyes, okay? Yellow, blue, and eyelids. If you do just yellow, that's going to be just as fine, all right? For the eyes in the character, because as you can see, I used triple the plate to make it nice and thick. Well, it didn't really look nice when I cut out with scissors. So to cover the multitude of imperfections, I simply cut out a circle, yellow circle. Then I poked through it and cut out a hole inside it so I can stick over it and cover the edges of rough paper, okay? Then red, okay? So these are my eyes. Again, a nice circle for the eyelids that I use my template. That's my template, okay? It's the lid. I cut it in half using a zigzag line, okay? So I have nice, lovely eyelids, alrighty. And now, mouth and teeth to stick, and the nose. I'm going to tell you a trick I learned when I was making my wild things with noses, well, like monkeys. Did you know that Where the Wild Things Are, we're supposed to be, the original title was Where the Wild Horses Are. This is what Mr. Sendak wanted to call his book, except he realized he didn't really know how to draw horses. He felt better about the wild things that reminded him of his relatives. So, when I was making the noses, I decided I'm going to use 2 layers to make for lovely pink nostrils. So I first cut out the nose like that. It can be green, black, whichever way you like, okay? Any shape. Alrighty? But as long as I have a little bit of pink or skin tone to make another, glue one over the other and turn this into a nose that has some pink sticking from underneath, okay? So that's it. I'm just gonna stick the nose, and I know that you're gonna perfect your and master your little creature by adding things little by little and making it as wild as you wish. I hope you enjoy that craft, and I hope you get to dress up as a wild thing and you can get to know Max better, okay? See you soon. I'm going to be drawing Max soon, and I invite you to come back to Magpie. Bye.